Well, let's bring in the government's chief antagonist for his views on all those questions and all those non-answers today. Official opposition leader Andrew Scheer joins me from the House of Commons foyer. Mr. Scheer, it must have been like Christmas in July when the Cotter settlement came down and plus this tax plan was rolled out. But I guess I'm challenging you. How are you going to keep this thing fresh for 2 months, never mind 2 years?
Well, we're not looking at a political issue here. We're looking at a fundamental attack on the Canadian economy and all those people who create opportunities in our country. So as long as the Liberals are proposing to do this, I think there will be a sustained backlash and really outrage at everything from the choice of words that they've been using, the characterization of people who are trying to avoid paying their fair share, to the practical impacts that this is going to have on the ability for entrepreneurs to create jobs. So as long as they are moving this forward, we're going to fight it every step of the way.
What's your reaction to the finance minister got a letter from like 280 doctors and lawyers are coming out and small business people and unions all saying that Bill Morneau should keep pushing ahead and describe this as tax fairness? I mean, is it possible that they have a point as well?
No, I mean, there's a very small number. In any group, you can find a small number that takes an opposing view. The overwhelming response from all those job creators and entrepreneurs has been very negative, that this will affect their ability to invest and hire. And there's nothing fair about that. This is the problem with this Liberal proposal, is that it's hurting the very people that it's aimed at helping. If the consequences of what they're doing kills jobs and makes it harder for young people to find work, there's nothing fair about that. And I think this is an ideological position that they're trying to justify now.
So you don't think there's any tax loopholes that should be advanced against upper income earners? Do you think if they could find a way to limit it to people earning, say, over $200,000 a year, that you'd be more on side?
You know, first of all, these aren't loopholes. We should never use their words. The Liberals use this type of word, but we know that this is a tax measure. This is a legitimate tool that was put in place. For example, to allow a mechanic to save money for some years in investments, maybe not actively invested in the business, but with a view to 4 or 5 years down the line, opening up a second location or buying some major equipment. Tax gets paid as it goes into the business, and it gets paid when it flows through to the individual. So Liberal measures are effectively going to tax these people twice, and that's not fair, and it'll mean a higher tax bill for people who are looking to create jobs in their community. So it will affect the very people that they're trying to help. I don't support the premise of where the Liberals are coming from.
One thing you did bring in, you invoked the name Bombardier a few times in question period today, and I'm curious, Justin Trudeau came out very forcefully today and said, if Boeing continues to attack Bombardier and trade disputes, we will not be buying any jets from Boeing. We need those to replace some of our worn-out fighters. Where are you on that plan? Do you support Justin Trudeau taking that position, or should the government stay out of the boardrooms of the nation?
Well, first of all, the Bombardier example is a great illustration of how the Liberals aren't doing these measures to achieve tax fairness. They're using it to fund big bailouts to companies like Bombardier. So mom and pop operators now will see more of their tax dollars go to pay for things like the Bombardier bailout. What the Liberals are now saying to our men and women in the armed forces is, because of their decision to pick a winner and loser in the marketplace to provide that bailout, now they are going to have to wait a little bit longer, or maybe a lot longer, for much needed equipment. So it's bad economics, and it does a disservice to our men and women in the armed forces to say that they have to suffer the consequences of the Liberals' economic decision.
Okay, so the government should proceed with that Super Hornet buy, in your view?
If the Liberals are convinced that their bailout for Bombardier was okay to do in terms of our international trading obligations, then they should defend that. But by linking two issues, as I said, they're putting the men and women in our armed forces at a disadvantage. They're going to have to wait longer for equipment now. Procurement costs always go up the more delays there are. So it's not clear to me what the Liberals are trying to achieve by this. But again, our position was that the bailout was wrong in the first place, that tax dollars should not have gone to provide this type of corporate subsidy. And now, to find the money to do this in the future, they're going after small businesses, entrepreneurs, and job creators.
All right, final issue I want to get to, Senator Lynn Bayek. She's been removed from committees, and you've said in other interviews that she's basically not a factor in caucus. Why don't you just throw her out of caucus? She said some pretty extreme things, but I know you defend freedom of speech.
Well, you know, I don't agree with what she said. I certainly denounce the way she said them and the tone that she used. My message of positive partnership with First Nations and Indigenous Canadians is one that I expect everyone on my team to help me transmit. I believe that the Conservative approach to these kinds of issues actually delivers better results. The Liberals are always so good at talking about intentions, but they always fail to deliver. We sometimes have the reverse problem, where sometimes it's our tone and signaling our motivations that we need to work on. So members of the Conservative caucus who share in that view can get behind me, and members that don't will have a decision to make.
Okay, bottom line, she stays for the time being, or she stays forever if she wants?
You know, as I said, you know, members have to make that decision if they want to help the team out and deliver that kind of positive, inclusive message.
All right. Andrew Scheer, thanks for joining us. Appreciate this.
Appreciate it, Don. Thanks.